Okay, today is September 24th, 2023, and here is the next update to the pepper series. It's been a long time since the last update because after my last harvest, it was just so crazy hot and dry, so the plants didn't do too well. But now it is September 24th and the temperature has dropped quite a bit, so everything is coming back to life again. It's just amazing how just a few degrees can change the entire garden. So anyway, let's go around and take a look and see what's going on. But before we do that, I'm gonna answer a question that people ask all the time. I showed this before, but I'm gonna do it again. What have I been using in the garden for the entire season? And this is it right here. I use this for my peppers from the beginning to end. So I try to keep things very simple by just sticking to one fertilizer, and I find that this is just an amazing fertilizer and it just helped the plants dramatically. So this is all that I use, so just in case you're wondering. So anyway, so let's go take a look at the plants. Some peppers here are not doing great because of the heat, but yeah, they're just starting to come back. And because the pepper didn't do too well, I started adding cucumbers, and let's see, I think there's a pumpkin right there that just came up and I left, and some amaranth here. Guys, if you are looking for vegetable that does not care about the heat and it will grow well in the summertime in Texas, amaranth, you gotta check it out. These things are just such amazing vegetables, very healthy for you, and they grow like a weed, and they actually are a weed, so be careful when you grow that, because if you let the seeds drop, these are the seeds right here, they could become very, very invasive in your garden if you're not putting them in a controlled area. So anyway, there's my pumpkins right there. So you see these here? These are the mini yellow pumpkins that you can grow for Halloween. So I think they will ripen up perfectly in Halloween time. And here's my Armenian cucumbers. These are my favorite cucumbers ever. Okay, so on to the peppers here. This is my Tabasco. And this guy was just doing so badly before, and now look at that. It's just a nice bushy plant with lots and lots of pods everywhere. See? And they keep popping up. So now they're going into bloom mode because the temperature is perfect for them. And then these are my Thai crosses. I crossed my Thai with a Scotch bonnet, and these are very special plants because I crossed them a long time ago, and I placed them in a little Ziploc bag, and I think it's been 5 years or something like that. I had a ton of seeds, and I mean, like hundreds of seeds. I placed them all in the soil and only 3 came up. So the Ziploc bag that you use to store seeds, they could potentially save your seeds, easily up to 3 years. But anything longer than that, the germination rate would just drop dramatically. I only got 3. So those are just beautiful plants. Look how big they are. So look at this. You see these little grooves? They don't look too much like a Thai pepper, but the leaves do. But the pods are very different, and they are much, much spicier. And they have this nice aroma of the Scotch bonnet, and also it's kind of like the semi-flavor, but it's very, very hot. So I'll show you that once those are ready. And here is the raised bed full of white Thais and ahi tangerine tiger. So these are the tangerine tigers that I got from Paula. This is a stripe, and this is the non-stripe. Look how big that one is. I think they will both grow just as big, but this one kind of struggled from the heat. You see this? All of these things dropped. The leaves dropped off, but it's starting to come back to life because the temperature is much, much better now. My lemon starburst struggled like crazy, and now it's doing pretty well. The white Thais, they're very hardy plants, so they do better than most usually. Look how bushy those are. Okay, and then one trick about the fertilizer, just because we're here, sometimes the soil gets dried, very, very dry, and water just runs off into the crack, and it won't absorb evenly throughout. So it's best to kind of like slowly spray or slowly sprinkle the bed to get it all saturated. Then you would put the fertilizer on top and then give it another light watering. And that's usually how I do it, because if you just throw the fertilizer into the dry soil and then water it in, and once it dissolves, it will just runs through those cracks and it'll just run off, and then you waste a lot of the fertilizer. So make sure you saturate the soil first, then throw on the fertilizer, and then lightly water it again. That way it can evenly dissolve into the roots of the plants. Look at my oranges, guys. These are Satsuma. Lots of little oranges. They should be bigger than this, but my trees the tree is too small, so the fruits remain pretty small. Okay, so one thing that I want to show you that is really neat. So this is my propagation area where I propagate these vitex trees. And for some reason, the bees love visiting this area to drink water. So every day I would come out here and I refill the water. They drink it all the way down to half every single day. So in the afternoon, there's a lot more of them. And I actually want to keep these guys around. So I keep feeding the water. And I mean, there's like hundreds of them that will visit throughout the day. And they will also help pollinate my plants too. And just in case you're wondering what that is, this is a float, because sometimes the bee, they get a little greedy. They'll go in, they'll fall, and I find dead bees in there once in a while. So that's a float, so that they can kind of attach themselves to if they happen to fall in. I love these guys. Okay, and here is my stargazer. Look at this, guys. It was doing so badly earlier, but now look at how beautiful it looks now. The leaves are starting to come back. See, it dropped all of these leaves right here. And now with a little fertilizer, cooler temperature, it is doing amazing in a 5-gallon bucket. So I'm gonna get lots of pods pretty soon. And then around here we have some white ties. These are extra plants. You see these dots right here, guys? So those could mean multiple reasons. A lot of the times it could be like overwatering. You can get spots like this, but also underwater you can also get because underwater meaning the plants are not getting the nutrients also, so it starts to develop a lot of these dots right here. And so just watch for the signs. And now you see the temperature are better, and then I started to water the plants, feed it a little bit, and look at this, the new leaves are looking good again. Sometimes you could a lot of people would say that this could be diseases, but in my case it wasn't. And same with these here. So they first have these here, it was just lacking nutrients. And here I have some more white ties, same issue. You see this? The leaves would have spots and stuff. It was lacking nutrients. It's just so dry. The pots get really solidly hard, and then I have to water it every day. And when the pot is so hard and it kind of clump up, the water just escape. And even if you water all the time, it just loses all the water. And so what the best thing to do in this case is to put a saucer underneath to catch the water. You see those dots right there? Catch the water so it can absorb right back up into the pot again, and you not lose a lot of water. And then feed it every once in a while, every 2 weeks or every 1 week and a half or whatever you want, and then it'll come back to life. No more spots on those guys. And here we have another of one of my crosses. I forgot what it is. I grew it in a little container, and then once it got big enough, I placed it into this Halloween container here. And because the kids love the puffs in here, and we also put it in our front door for the delivery folks. And so we have this container that it was not being used, so I used it for peppers, and it did really well. The pot is just perfect. You see? So here I actually didn't poke any holes down here, because what I do is I water it in, and I know the water would collect down here, and I just leave it, and then it'll slowly soak up into the rest. And if I poke holes, as I mentioned, it's too hot here, the soil gets super dry, it starts to create channels, and then the channel will just run the water off into the holes, and it will leak out, and then the pot is still pretty dry. And so to combat that, I just didn't poke any holes. I just let the water run down to here and stay here. As long as you don't water it and this becomes a pool, then you're good to go. So that's kind of like a trick, but you know, if you don't do it right, it's also actually gonna work against you. And we have some more. These are Lingrias. These are the Lingria with the tails. These are really cool peppers. And those struggled too, and they are finally starting to come back. And those are my StarrFlowers. I have 4 of these, 1 there and 2 over there and this one. So when you grow peppers together closely, some plants will get outcompeted and then they will remain small, and then there's a few that would get bigger. And so basically all they're doing is they're growing roots and they spread it all out, and then they'll fight each other underneath, and then the ones that win the battle are the ones that grow the biggest. You see it? So those are the small ones, and that's the small one. And here is the peach star kiss. This guy, man, I thought it was gonna die, but it's back to life and doing okay. So we should get pods pretty soon. Look at those flowers right there. Not expecting a lot for these guys, but I just need a few pods for the seeds. Extra white ties here. And the same thing, we always get spots on these, but now no more spots. See here, these are the early leaves. See? Oops, I pulled the whole thing off. See those spots? It's the same thing happened. Lack of nutrients, dry soil, the plant's not getting what it needs, so that's what it does. It just turns the leaves into spots. And once you fix the problem, look at this. Beautiful. And then I have a little volunteer basil here, and I just let it grow in the grass. And this has been feeding me basil all season. The trick with basil is don't let it flower. That's why it get big. You see these flowers right here? Just pull it off like that. And anytime you see it, just pull it off and it would grow enormous. If I didn't pull out the flowers, it'll just get this big, and that's it. And here is my little pepper in a container that I did a video on. Still alive, producing pods again. This is the second set of production. So it produced earlier this summer, and I picked it all off to make chili oil, and now it's back again producing more. And that's pretty much it. And just want to add something special I want to show you guys. I'm growing watermelon in a trash bin with wheels. See that? And the reason for that is it used to sit right here and there's no sun there, and so I wheeled it off. I just collect the vine, pull it up, put it right here, wheel it into the area where it has a lot of sun, and then let it grow there. And once it, that area gets no more sun, I just wheel it off again and then move it into the area with sun. I think there should be a watermelon. Actually, no, it dried up, so it's not ready to produce yet, but pretty soon I will get some watermelon. But that is it for this update, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.